everybody? This is Casey Supreme with Internet Money, doing a tutorial for you guys today on compression, specifically parallel compression and New York compression. They're the same thing, just whatever one you want to call it. And I'm going to be doing it on an 808. Today you can do this technique on pretty much anything. Like I've used it on vocals, on a kick, on a snare, basically anything you want to stand out and pop more in your mix. So, but today we'll be doing it on an 808, and I'll show you how that works. Please excuse my voice, I'm a little bit sick, got a little bit of a cold, but, so to start, I've created this little beat right here, so I'll play that for you. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to use this technique on the 808. So the first thing you want to do is create extra mixer channels. So I've sent my 808 to mixer channel 2, just like you usually would. But then I've created 3 extra mixer tracks. So there's 808 dry, 808 wet, 808 bus. So I'll show you kind of how to route this and set it up. I've already created the mixer inserts, but I'll show you how I route it all and make sure it all works. And it's very important to use this technique that you route it exactly how it's supposed to be, or else it just doesn't work. So we got the 808 on channel 2, just like you usually would when you're mixing or sending it to the mixer channel. Then after you have these other inserts created, you want to route it like so. So we'll take this 808. I'm going to right click this arrow on 808 dry, route to this track only. What that does is it unroutes it from the master. So now the 808 signal is only being sent to this channel right here. And while we still have the first 808 channel selected, we want to go down to this arrow under 808 wet, click it once, left click it. So now the 808 is going to these 2 channels, and that's it. It's not going to the master. So now you want to go to 808 dry, and you'll see that it's being routed to the master. We want to unroute it. We want to right click 808 bus, route to this track only. I'm going to do the same thing with 808 wet, route to this track only. So it's a bit confusing, but basically I'll break it down again. Starting with the 808, this 808, the raw 808, is going into 808 dry and 808 wet. The same signal is going into both. Then each of these channels is going into 808 bus. They're not going into each other. This 808 dry only goes into 808 bus. 808 wet only goes into 808 bus. So basically the bus is like the sum of the signal. So it's, that's where it ends up. This is where you control the volume. So if you have that set up correctly, when I play the 808, you'll see it's, coming through all these and ending up here. So you don't want to mess with the volumes of any of these yet. You just want to leave them as is. You want to leave the raw 808 as is. You want to leave the dry as is. And basically at the end, you want to control the volume of the mixer channel with this. That'll control all 3 of the signals into one. So the next thing you want to do is you want to add some plugins. And the reason you want to do this is because the whole point of parallel compression is to, blend the dry signal, which is the raw 808, with the effect signal, and that creates a different sound than you normally would get. So yeah, it's very important to make sure you put the same VSTs on each channel. So on the dry, I've opened up a fruity compressor and decapitator, but you could use FL distortion. You could use, what's it called, fruity fast distortion. They do the same thing. I just prefer decapitator because it's an 808. It's going to kind of give you that Wonder Girl 808 type of sound, and I'll show you that at the end. But so I've opened both of these on the dry channel, and basically on the dry channel we want to make sure the mix is sent all the way to dry, because we don't want it to do anything on this channel. We just need it to be there because of plug-in delay compensation. So we're going to open both of these. On the compressor, I've just done a full reset, so neither of these are doing anything. They just have to be there. and the reason they have to be there is for phasing issues. So on the 808 wet, we have to make it the exact same 2 plugins. But on this channel, we're actually going to make it do stuff. So I've basically set up the compressor here to squash the signal. So I'll play right here. So this is how it sounds normally, and we're only working with the wet channel right now. And basically I've squashed the signal. I've over compressed it on purpose. So you can kind of look at these settings and apply it. But basically the threshold's way down, ratio's high, attack and release are low. And then I brought up the gain to make up for how quiet bringing the threshold makes it. So this is just squash to hell. And then on Decapitator, all I did here was take this drive knob and turn it up to add some, distortion. So this is how the wet signal sounds. It's almost too much, but I'll show you what we're going to do. So after you make sure these both have the same exact inserts, and it has to be the same exact. You can't have FL distortion on this one and Decapitator on the other one. It has to be the same plugin. And just once again, make sure the ones on dry are not doing anything to the signal. So I'm going to turn the 808 wet channel all the way down, and I'm going to play just what it sounds like, just the raw 808. Okay, now we're going to slowly add in the wet signal, the overcompressed signal, and basically it's going to give us that really grungy sound, but it's going to mix it in with the normal 808, so you still get the transients, and it kind of mixes it together and sounds really good. So I'm going to do that right now. So you can hear how that changes it. I'll solo it once again. And on the raw 808 channel and the bus, you don't really need to do anything. You just want to add all the effects on the wet. On the 808 bus, you can add like EQs and stuff on the final signal if you like. It won't affect it. The only part that gets affected is the dry and the wet as far as adding extra plugins goes. You just always want these to be balanced, because if it's not, it'll really mess up the phase. So I don't know why, it's just how it is. So don't get that part wrong, or it'll mess up this whole trick. Now I'm going to play the whole beat. So I'm going to play it without the parallel compression, and then I'll add it in. See how much more apparent it is in the mix. It brings it to the front, makes it stand out more. And like I said earlier, it kind of gives it that Wonder Girl, grungy 808, especially when you get the slides going like I did. So you can use this technique for kicks, snares, and you do basically the same thing. You'd even want to add distortion and compression. And once again, you just compress the hell out of one of the signals, and then when you blend them together, it just makes it stick out that much more. So definitely try this out. A lot of people don't know how to do this, so hopefully I explained it well enough, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.